Okie dokie. Let's try this again, huh? Take two, take two. Okie dokie. Alrighty. One of, if not the biggest weekends, right? In college. Oh, good morning. I'm on a call, buddy. Is that okay? Yeah, okay. Much better, we say. Okay. Yeah. Hope I don't know if it looks any different. Yeah, I don't know if it looks any different than when I was YouTube on the studio, but yeah, I just got to play with that a little more. Controls are definitely a little more like typical streamer friendly, like streaming video games or doing some of that other type of stuff. Just got to play with it. All right, watch this, buddy. Go, go, go. All righty. No, not really look, but definitely sounds night and day. All right, well, that's good. We'll take it. Take it for what it's worth. All right, let's get to going, huh? Bum, 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 bum. All right, pulling up one more thing here. Let's see how many people we can get in this bad boy. Disconnect. All right. Good morning, everyone. One of the biggest weeks, one of the biggest weekends as far as games go. Would you agree? Let's take a look at what the market has been doing this morning. I'm going to share my screen actually. I'm going to go, let's see if I can share my. Here we go. Okay. Let me add this in, and here we go. All right, let's take a look. I'll zoom in on this maybe a little bit. Hopefully, that gets a little, maybe a little bigger for you guys. Maybe it's a little small. All right, if it's too small, let me know. All right, let's see. We have quite a bit going on. Let's see. Oh, why can't I refresh this? I want to see the games that we've plucked. Here we go. All right, let's see movement on some of the ones. Ooh, Wisconsin and Rutgers. This is interesting. Okay, 1.5 now. I think we're on Wisconsin 2.5. So I want to. Ooh, yeah. So this is the unabated odd screen, guys. You've heard us talk about it before. We use this quite literally, religiously, daily, dogmatically, if you will. It's more than just an odd screen. I think their odd screen is probably one of the best in the industry. They give you market making books. So does Spank Odds. I understand that Don Best does. I've actually never used them direct, but that's what I understand as well. But this is, I mean, we've kind of been partners with Undebated for a while. I think it's super robust. It shows you can see line history movement, so it's very useful for what we do, and generally, more times than not, attacking openers. So you can see here, Wisconsin right off the bat. This is now at 1.5 at circa. We had a 2.5. Cal and Pitt, really no movement there. Looks like Northern Illinois 2.5 still hanging around there. Been that way for a few days. Let's see. Any ton of line movement. So this Texas and Oklahoma game, this is fascinating, right? Circa's hanging at 17 already, Pinnacle Bookmaker at 16 and a half. So market is not really market's not really digging what Oklahoma's trying to put forth here. So it's gonna be that's gonna be a very fascinating game, really. Let's jump over to this matchup here real quick. Hopefully that's not too small for you guys to see. If you enlarge the screen, you can see a lot more. But yeah, this is the one. I mean, I heard Seth and Steve talk about it on our show that I think our raw number is 29 on this one. Obviously, we regressed the market here. We made the number 20 back when it. I think that this number was as of 2 days ago. The market again now is at. Oh, I just got kicked out unabated. Who's using it? Seth, Steve. Someone's kicking me out. What did I say? So market's at basically 17 and a half. So our number might change a little bit off that. But yeah, we got a good number in this one. There's no doubt about it. We're on 14 and a half for Texas now. So we got a good bet either way you slice it. All right, I'm gonna X out of this here. All right. I don't know. I wonder how much of that is a product of Quinn Ewers coming back and starting versus the who the confirmation of quarterback was for Oklahoma. God, I forget the guy. I forget the kid's name. I'm spacing on that, but interesting movement on that one. Okay, what else has been going on in the market? Let's take a look. Let's take a look once more. So, just talked about Texas, Oklahoma, Southern Miss. Really no movement there. Looks like Florida, Tennessee. Yeah, this one's interesting. This one kind of makes me nervous for a weird reason. I don't know why. Someone needs to talk me out of being nervous, but we're on Florida 16 and a half now. So, I mean, again, we got a good number. Um Everywhere's 14 and a half basically. There's some weird ones going on. FanDuel's still laying a 16 and a half apparently. So that's interesting. All right, elsewhere we got Vandy in Kentucky. Doesn't look like a ton. We're on Vanderbilt 12 and a half on that one, but Circa's still hanging at 12 and a half. Doesn't look like there's been a ton of movement from when we got it, from when we laid it early in the week. All right, elsewhere, let's see. Early games. Early games. Not a ton of movement, it looks like. I'm gonna bring this back in. All right. Washington, Iowa. This is still at 3. Clemson, Wake Forest. Oh, this looks like it moved maybe it didn't. That's kind of bobbed and weaved a little bit. Kind of open at 21, got down to 20, but now kind of settling around that number 21 there. So not much there. Army and UAB. Oh, man, Army, what are they feeding those kids there this year? They are just out of this world. Market has been loving the servicemen or the army specifically, I guess, this week. This technically opened at 21, got bought immediately up to 23 and just like sprinted to 27, got to 28 even. And oh my goodness, market loves some army. All right. Let me guys know in the chat what matchups you want to talk about. Obviously, it's a huge weekend for games. We got several matchups and several plays that we're on. What's your guys' favorite play today? Texas 13 and a half. Rob, I don't know if you can get a 13 and a half anymore in the market. You got a boost or something that you're using? Because we got them at oops. This is old. Yeah, we got them at 14 and a half. So unless you got a boost and okay, at 14 and a half. Okay. Yeah, again, I don't saying best bets, is not something that we really try to include in our vernacular. We don't say locks, we don't say favorites, things of that nature. We treat every model prediction that we have that meets our EV threshold as our best bet. So however many bets the model spits out that weeks, those are all our best bets. But I will say from a market perspective, not to be hand wavy about it, this one feels good. We got a 14 and a half and the market has bought this up to now 16, 15, 17 in some places. So Really like the number that we got. So for what that's worth, I'll leave you with that. Yeah, understandable. I always got to give those disclaimers. You guys, when we hear that type of stuff, just try to reel it in. Because people want to will hear that stuff like, oh, what's your lock, what's your best bet, and then just go off and fire irresponsible amount of units or whatever on said play just because one guy says it or just because a couple numbers say it on a screen in front of you. Like, gotta reel that behavior in a little bit. So, but yeah, feel really good about that one. I mean, I think this is going to be very tricky, frankly, very difficult for Oklahoma to really figure out how they're going to. You can kind of see here. I'm going to zoom, or I don't think I can zoom in anymore, but you can see here the kind of got a breakdown of the matchup of the Red River rivalry. Like, yeah, Texas. It doesn't matter when Arch Manning has stepped in or when Quinn Ewers has been behind center. Their offense has been really, really good. You can see the weighted offensive EPA per play there. Their echo rate over expected is fantastic. Early down success rate, like, yeah, I just don't struggling for me to see how Oklahoma's going to be able to keep up in this one. Do you just base your plays on the model, or do you also incorporate line movement as well? Frost, good question. The answer is, I mean, technically both, because the model, we regress the model to the market. So, in other words, we incorporate what the market is telling us. So when openers happen for college football, Sunday morning, afternoonish, we're inputting that information into the model, and then that's how we ultimately get a model prediction, is by incorporating the line at any given time, right? If and when the line moves throughout the week, we will kind of rerun the numbers and regress to the market, with added new line movement, and see if there's one still value or two new value on certain games where there wasn't before. But every single time the line is taken into consideration, yes. Hope that answers your question. If not, let me know if you want some additional clarification there. But yeah, for anyone who is originating or generating an output, independently, not just using kind of a top down approach, I think you absolutely have to regress to the market, aka incorporate the line, incorporate what the market is offering you at any given point. Assume, efficient market hypothesis. Assume that the market knows something that you don't. Right. So, all right. Let me pull up our plays and predictions here for week 7. I think there's one or two on here that I'll just rattle them off real quick for you guys, because a couple may not be clear from this. So this week we are on Northwestern +11, Southern Miss +7, Wisconsin +2.5. Oops. Vanderbilt +12.5. Cal, Golden Bears, the Golden Woke Bears, shout out, +3.5. Should it be Miami? Northern Illinois +3, Texas -14.5, and Florida +16.5. So shout out. Shout out. Alrighty. Yeah, Phil, if I wasn't able to join Seth and Steve on the weekly discussion podcast show this week, but yeah, they had good discussions about the games. And then yeah, if you guys are also interested in kind of our thoughts or angles independently of the model, we started a new segment on that show called Off the Numbers, where we're basically using our in some instances, using the model as kind of a foundation for the plays, or kind of a grounding point, if you will, but then using our own knowledge of the game, of the teams, of what the market is doing. We each pick a play for both college and for NFL, and we're just going to kind of have a friendly little competition throughout the rest of the season. So shoot, I forget what Seth and Steve are on, but I chose the under in the Penn State and USC game. Unfortunately, this one, as soon as I locked it in, this one basically like just sprinted in the opposite direction. I think I got this at 40, I want to say 9.5, maybe it's even 48.5. Jesus Christ. The market's basically at 51, 51.5 in some places. So I definitely misread this one. At least, the market disagrees with me vehemently. um, little unsure why. I'm very curious to see what happens during this game, but yeah, for what it's worth, this one is not looking good for me at the moment. But I am, for what it's worth, small sample size, caveats abound. 2-0, baby. Let's go. But anyway, yeah, under the Penn State and USC number, not looking good for me early going. I will say that. All right. What else? What other games you guys want to talk about? Ohio State, Oregon. Yes, of course. How can we cannot we have to talk about that one, right? Um, yeah, this is a fascinating one too. I'm just going to kind of steal some talking points that I heard Seth and Steve go on about the show too, but I thought it was a good point. So Ohio State is, by our numbers, a top five defense for sure. I think they're our number one overall power rank team, but this is a different class of defense than Oregon has seen to date here. Um, I mean, you can see the defensive weighted EPA per play there for Ohio State minus 2.57. I don't know exactly where that ranks. I'd have to double check, but it's good. It's really good. And I'm a little curious. Borderline concerned to see how Dylan Gabriel and that Oregon offense is going to basically compensate for it. We've seen a couple times. I think he only has 3 interceptions so far, and interceptions are high variance play, so it's not like ideal to rely on that statistic for how good or how bad a quarterback is per se. But you watch the games, and there's moments, there's plays where you're like, what is this dude doing? Like, what is this kid? What's going on? So I fear that he is going to have a few more of those moments against a really really good Ohio State defense. So for what it's worth, let's see. I'm not sure how much the market has moved off of this one. Let's see. So Circa's at a 3 right now. Here, I'll share the odd screen once more. Um, yeah. So Circa's at a 3. This is pretty much, yeah. This opened at 4 and is at a 3. So not a lot of movement. Not a lot of movement on this one, but yeah, I could see. I know the market thinks it's a coin flip game, but I don't know. I could see if a couple of those high variance situations happen where Dylan Gabriel makes a boneheaded play or two, a turnover, or a strip sack, or whatever. This could potentially get weird, a little lopsided. So I'm excited for this one, though. Hopefully, if he keeps it together, I think we're talking, down to the wire here for sure in that game. All right. All right, appreciate you guys being here. Let me know again, what games you want to break down. We got, I mean, just an absolutely stacked slate. Really excited. I hope, just on a personal note, I hope Alabama and Tennessee both pull out the wins this week. I don't care if they cover. I just want them to win. Or stay at one win apiece. We'll be at the Tennessee and Alabama game next weekend in Knoxville, baby. So looking forward to that, no doubt. But it was a bummer that they both lost on the same weekend last week, but happens. Is what it is. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right, let's see. Other market movements. Not seeing a ton jump off the page here. Admittedly, I have not kept my ear to the ground as much as I have this week on the market, but let's see, Alabama, South Carolina, yeah, 20. This open at 22, kind of still at 22, so not a ton there. Market doesn't have a high opinion on either side on that one. Bowling Green. Yeah, USC Penn State. God, this one pissing me off. Oh, I know Seth was on. I think he got 4.5 on Penn State. That was his off the numbers pick. So this is at 3.5 now. So market has also, to an extent, disagreed with Seth. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, I'm like triply interested in that game now. Seeing what's gonna happen. Weesh. Weesh. All right, let's see. Do you base all right. So no more comments I'm seeing coming in yet. All good, all good. Whoever's in here now, appreciate you guys being in here. Yeah, we talked about this stuff at length, and we do talk about the CFB landscape, all various matchups, and we break them down in our weekly off, or excuse me, 3% Edge podcast show, which of course lives on YouTube. Strongly suggest you guys check that out or subscribe to that. I think you'll find some useful tidbits in breaking down the numbers, breaking down the data, how we are thinking about and how you can think about these games differently, as opposed to just your gut swagging it or anything of that nature. So, all right. Yeah, this week I had to use a beard. I had to use a beard this week because I was traveling. Um, I was traveling for work throughout the week. And when we gave out or when we did the openers for college on Sunday afternoon, like we normally do, um, I got a couple of them down, but I wasn't able to get a couple of them because I was in a rush, whatever things were going on. So I left. I was in California. They don't have sports betting there, so I had to call my beard, which is just my wife, and have her lay some action for me. But then for NFL too, we do it for NFL when that came through Sunday night. Oof, yeah, that was that was an interesting phone call. Okie dokie. Let's see. Let's run through the plays once more, guys. I'm going to tell you where we're at as far as model predictions this week. We are on Northwest. Oops, let me filter that. There we go. We are on Northwestern plus 11. That one covered outright. I mean, they won outright, so that was dope to see. So starting off, heading into this Saturday slate, 1-0. So that's good. We are on Texas, or excuse me, Southern Miss plus 7, and it looks like no more sevens really available. Only 6.5s in the marketplace. So got a little bit of CLV there as well. We're on Wisconsin 2.5. Again, that looks like 2.5s no longer look like they're available as well. So again, a little bit of CLV on that one as well. Vanderbilt plus 12.5. Last I checked, let me double check once more. Yeah, a couple 12 a half, couple of 12 and a halfs, even a 13 available in the market. So no real movement, no real CLV on this one, but Vandy 12.5. We're on Cal plus 3.5. This is another one too. Little bit of movement, not much in the market. I see mostly 3.5s available. I do see 4.5. So maybe there'll be some late action before kickoff goes, but still widely available there. Northern Illinois, we're also on plus 3. Looks like throughout the marketplace is plus 2.5. So again, we'll live with that. Texas, we mentioned this, minus 14.5 is what we're on. Feel just really good about this one, just based on what the market has done or told us, to this point. So we 14.5s are long gone. So looks like that's. I want to see when this changed. So we got a 14.5 last Saturday, right? So, or excuse me, last Sunday, so almost a week ago. And then, yeah, it looks like it got bought up to 15 on the 11th and then 16.5 on the 12th. So just this morning, there's some late action on Texas. So let's go. Like to see that. So got a great number for Texas, minus 14.5. And then we are on Florida plus 16.5, which again is another good number. The market has been slowly moving in Florida's direction. 16.5 is too much, and pretty much 14.5s are available in the marketplace now. And someone will have to check. It looks like FanDuel is hanging a 16.5 still at minus 115. I believe that is fine at those odds. I believe so because we say it's okay to bet down to plus 16. So I presume that would be okay, but someone will have to double check if 16.5 is still available at FanDuel, because once in a while the odd screens have issues with feeds, and we've seen this in the past, but they're the only ones hanging a 16.5, and everywhere else everywhere else is at a 14.5. So for what that's worth, we'll see. So yeah, it's a fun slate today. I'm looking very much looking forward to the games as everyone else is too. So but yeah, these two bad boys are definitely going to be. I'm not going to be able to catch some of the actually. What game are the early ones? Let me see. Peel back the curtain a little bit. I got some kindergarten soccer starting today, and I'm an assistant coach now, so I'm going to be missing some of the early action here. But I'll be back in time for kickoff for the Penn State. I'll be back in time for all the good matchups. Yeah, the 12:30 kickoffs, Red River rivalry, Oregon, Ohio State. That's not till later, right? That's like a 4:30 kickoff. Yep. All right. So we're good. I'm not missing too much action. All right. Appreciate you guys being here. Let me know what other matchups, what other games, any of the model predictions you want me to talk about. Happy to get into any and all of it. All right. Ooh. Always fascinating to see though. I'll just pull this up one more time just so you guys can kind of see, what we see almost daily. Like we say the odds screens lighten up, right? Whenever there's a change in one of the books or an odds or whatever happens, like you'll see it light up in these kind of yellow bars here. So usually Saturday morning, this is when the best of the best, the 1% of the one percenters of top sports bettors are probably making their moves. They have models to probably account for every I don't even know. Maybe in college, this would be other ungodly worldly, but they have models to account for every possible variable. Team injuries, player injuries, weather, all these type of things that you hear the public talk about. The top professionals in the world actually have an ability to quantify a lot of this stuff. And it's not perfect, all models are wrong, some are useful, but the more you can incorporate into your number, a model, the less uncertainty you have around a prediction, in my opinion. So best of the best are betting right now, guys, as well as the worst of the worst. Unfortunately, like the public just loves betting Saturday morning into these games and outcomes too, right? But remember, largely all the rec books, all these books you see here, the FanDuels, the BetMGMs, ESPN bets, etc. Guys, what they're largely doing is they're largely using the same or exact data provider, content provider feeds that the market making books do, the Circas, Pinnacles, bookmakers, etc. And when the market making books lines or odds change, usually the rec books will just follow suit. There is a tiny bit of nuance you can see, like for example, what DraftKings I've noticed anecdotally recently, they've been doing this weird shit where they will offer the same line as the bookmakers. So like Pinnacle's at a 2.5 here for Iowa, and so is DraftKings, but they'll flub the odds a little bit, right? They'll juice the favorite maybe a little more, or they'll juice one side or the other a little more. You can see like minus 112, minus 108. To try to, I think, get some of their clientele to, which again is largely just square losing bettors because they kick out and limit winners, but to try to entice a little more action on one side or the other. But they're not. They're these books are not in the business of price discovery, generally speaking, right? They because they kick out winners, because they kick out the folks who are even just trying to win. You don't even have to be a winner, guys, to be kicked out of these sports books. You just have to display winning behavior, which is for main markets like we're talking about, sides, totals, and money lines. That includes getting things like CLV. If you're getting CLV on your plays, then you're probably going to be flagged by a lot of these books. So, one of the and this is just a tangent real quick too, but this is one of the reasons like why I think things like the peer-to-peer stuff, why the sweepstake model books like Sport Trade, like ProfitX are becoming more and more viable, frankly, more and more popular as well, because it allows those people who either have been limited or who have trouble getting down, yeah, at these rec books where there might be a bad line, so to speak. It's a good workaround for a lot of those folks. So we've taken, yeah, I have personally started using some of those systems more often, and will be going forward. And yeah, we'll have a little content coming out around that stuff as well, because I think there's a lot of maybe uncertainty, or maybe people aren't really sure about those sweepstake books and how they differ, but I think they're a very viable and legitimate tool in the space for sure. Okay, let's get back to the programming, huh? Yeah. Anyone in here who has a question, has a comment on a certain game, on one of our model outputs, certain matchup, please let me know. Happy to go into it. Happy to talk about it. All right. Yeah. Again, just kind of peering through some late market movement here this morning. I don't see, at least for the games that we have identified and that we have bet, but ooh, interesting. So looks like Hamby, which is like the Bet Rivers. What else do they own? I forget what else. But on the Cal Pittsburgh game, it looks like Hamby is at a plus 4.5 now. So the only 4.5 in the market. Everywhere else is 3.5, and we got them at 3.5 as well. So we'll see. We'll see on that one. All right. Brand. Nope, I don't want to do that. Oh, can I add this stuff? Let me see. Oh, I can. Okay, interesting. All right, sorry, got distracted. So we'll see if any more movement follows on that one. But right now, the main market makers, Circa, Bookmaker, Pinnacle, they're at 3. Purdue, Illinois, yeah, oof. Yeah, I wonder what the movement has been, or why the strong movement towards Texas. Why this late movement? Because again, this was at 14 and a half still just yesterday morning. And then this morning, boom, pretty early, 7:02 a.m., got bought to 16, and then 16 and a half, and now 17. So someone somewhere was really buying Texas late. Did I miss some news? Is there some news? Does Oklahoma have some guys out that maybe were questionable? Let's see. Let's see what unabated has. This is another one of the tools. It's not perfect too. We've noticed that there are definitely some flaws to it, but it's been helpful in in circumstances. So like, okay, I don't know why this Clemson guy is listed here, but so Dion Burks, wide receiver for Oklahoma, is out. That came through. Looks like couple days ago. So in my opinion, wouldn't explain. Um, Out several weeks. That was from even a while ago. Okay, so not on injury report is a running back from a couple days ago. Andre Anthony, another wide receiver, out versus Texas. Okay, and is there any Texas news? So yeah, Arch Manning, QB2. Yeah, Quinn Ewers, we knew that. So Colin Page, the running back, is questionable. So maybe it's the wide receiver news for Oklahoma. So a couple of their key guys, um, down with injuries. That could be definitely playing into it here. So, but yeah, that just again goes into what I think Seth and Steve were talking about on the show this week. It's how is Oklahoma going to keep up? I mean, it's clear that they don't have full confidence in their quarterback situation. Kind of flip flopping, and then now with a couple of wide receivers out as well. Eesh, I yeah, I'm a little nervous. I'm a little nervous for them on this one. I don't know if Seth and or Steve actually took any alts on Texas, but I know they were talking about alt season. Just is this going to get sideways and ugly fast? Like is 20 and a half on the table here, or maybe even a little more? So don't know if they took it, but definitely the conversation I think needs to be had. how much value is there in the tails in this game here, especially now with what the market has done. So if they did pull the trigger, they definitely got some value now because of where the market is at. 16 and a half, 17. Yeah, that 20 and a half is going to be a lots less lucrative than if they got it earlier in the week. So hope they did. Hope they did. It'd be a good bet. All right. All right. Sorry about that. All right. Yep. Let me know, guys. Let me know if there's any specific matchups you want me to get into or talk about. We got again just an absolutely jacked slate this morning, or today, not just this morning, but really, really excited for the day. So yeah, other marquee matchups. Oregon and Ohio State. Where's that one at? Come back. Where you at? Where you at? There you go. Yeah, so not a ton of movements, not a ton of market movement on this one. This opened at 4 and is now currently at 3. So market is expecting or thinks this is a coin flip game for the most part, which I have my hunch about this one. I don't know. I think it could get weird real fast. ASU, or excuse me, Arizona and BYU. BYU just a sneaky good, like, does BYU have a legitimate shot to win the Big 12 all of a sudden? They have been I think the market is probably catching up to them now or maybe in the past week or 2, but this was a team in the early going where it was clear that their how they were performing and what they were doing was outside of market expectations. I think the market had been generally wrong on them first few weeks, but it probably feels like at this point in the season we're talking about week 7 already. Like it's difficult for the market to get teams wrong at this point. But that's one of the interesting things about beginning, early season college football is, you have this idea of priors, right? And when you're building models or, quantifying stuff is what's your prior? Who was this team last year, generally speaking, right? And how much do you hold on to that in the early going, right? If there was a lot of change, a lot of turnover, either maybe the coaching side or from the player side or both schematically, like how fast do you throw out your priors or downweight your priors even more when things really kind of when a team either vastly over or underperforms expectations. I think BYU was one of the overperformers of the early season, and then I can't think of a more obvious one than Florida State, who was an obvious underperformer in the early part of the season. But yeah, one of those fascinating things to think through or keep an eye on as the season progresses. Alrighty. Model predictions for college week 7. Here we go. Northwestern with the outright win. Crushed him. Wasn't even close, really. All right. You okay, bud? Okay. uh, all right. So let's run through these one more time here, right? We got Northwestern plus 11. Still, again, I should have updated that, but 1-0 head into the weekend after they won outright. And then heading into today, Southern Miss plus 7. Looks like that is not technically available anymore. 6.5s throughout the market. We have Wisconsin plus 2.5. Again, no longer available in the market. So plus 1.5s really at this point, it looks like. Then we have Vanderbilt plus 12 and a half. We're also on, and this one looks to be still available for the most part, pretty widely available in the market. So you can get that if you'd like. Cal plus 3.5. This one, where's Cal? I see a couple of 3.5s in the market as well. So actually pretty generally widely available as well. So Cal and Vanderbilt still widely available. Northern Illinois plus 3. This one is plus 2.5 throughout the market. So yeah, I've got a little bit of CLV on a key number there. And then Texas minus 14.5. Talked about that one. Love what the market has done. So we have a fantastic number there. And then Texas plus 16.5. Another one where we have a good number. I mean, market is at 14 or 14.5 right now. So um, somewhere down the line, the market said 16.5 was too much for them boys. Too much for them boys in down in Florida. So yeah, overall, I think generally we saw a higher proportion of our plays have CLV this week than in a couple of weeks past. So good to see it. I mean, this is one of those situations where we talk about trusting the process, and we monitor CLV for very good reason. It's not just like, I don't know, you hear people talk about um you hear a lot of touts and people out there, I think, discuss COV, but not in the nuanced context of what that actually means for you. And, as a, whether you're a system better, whether you're a top down better, originator, whatever, like when you're betting sides, totals, and money lines, main markets, CLV is a huge indicator of whether or not your process, just all encompassing in air quotes here, whether or not your process is adding something to the marketplace or not. Obviously, it's hard, borderline impossible to get CLV when you're betting Saturday morning, guys, right? Like the market has done what it's going to do for the most part. But when you bet early, we're betting again Sunday afternoon for the following week's college games. That allows you to two things. One, have the opportunity for good CLV, right? But two, measure it in a more nuanced and a more meaningful way, because the more CLV you get in the aggregate, I won't say like on an individual play, but if you're getting CLV on a higher proportion of your plays, at least 60%, if you can get CLV like anywhere in the 65 to 75% range, that would be killer. But that's the type of stuff that should be a signal to you, and is a signal for us that says, yeah, what we're adding to the marketplace, what we're contributing by outputting these numbers and betting these numbers, is we're on the right track, right? We're getting CLV where the market is agreeing with us. So our numbers that we bet can no longer be had in the market. So it's a good sign. It's a good sign for us generally. But of course, no thing is a guarantee. Nothing is a lock. Nothing's guaranteed. Just because you get good CLV on a play doesn't mean that play is going to hit. Good bets will lose, guys. We're still betting we're still betting on human beings to do things, right? Which, good luck. Good luck on that. Figuring out the human condition. All right. All right, what else we got? A couple good matchups. We talked about model predictions. Here's our Colorado landscape. This is based off weighted EPA per play for both offense and for defense. Again, you can see Ohio State there. Like, just okay. I think I said number 4 defense in the maybe when I started the stream earlier, but yeah, by these numbers, using just raw weighted EPA, like they are by far the best defense in the country. So yeah, Oregon, I mean, they're kind of right in the center of the screen there. You can kind of lumped in by Clemson, by Auburn there, and by Colorado, if you see. So this is one that I'm really just fascinated to see. Like I just, oof, if that defense plays like it can or has, this is not a defense that Oregon has seen to date, and I think this could spell trouble for them pretty quickly. So I am, this is one of those things where your mental model wants to do one thing or say one thing, but you have a process and you have numbers to try to quantify the stuff. And and we basically don't show, we don't show really a huge edge either way on this game. Um, if you could have gotten like let's see, a 4.5 maybe, but I don't think there was any 4.5s that were ever available. Then there would have been some value, but yeah, and then you take into consideration again that the market really hasn't moved off of this. It's opened at 4 and it's now at 3. Use those points as, as part of your mental model. Like, okay, do I really think I'm smarter than the entire market? No, I don't, but hard for me to separate those two sometimes. Okay, okay, okay. Here we go. Do you just base your plays? Yeah, okay. All right, guys. I I'm gonna have to head off here in a sec. I'm gonna do these through YouTube a little more often, try to promote them a little differently. Again, we've had our wrists slapped a little bit on TikTok, which is where we usually go live, especially on the weekends. But even during the week, we'll try to be doing a little more of these on YouTube directly, just to maybe try to reach slightly different audience. We've grown actually quite a bit on YouTube, so hopefully we'll be able to get a little more traction on the lives or just on our content generally speaking there. So we'll be doing these a little more often. But again, appreciate you guys being here. If you're not subscribed to the channel, highly recommend you do that. It would help us out tremendously. But also our weekly content that we put out for the long form shows, as well as our game matchups and breakdowns that we put out throughout the week as well. I think we'll add some useful insight and some value to you guys in your own handicapping or your own kind of betting journey. So, all right, boys and girls, whoever's in here still, if anyone's in here still, appreciate you guys being with me. I'm gonna log off for now, but good luck on all your bets today and all your plays. If you're riding with us on the model, extra good luck to you. You already want to know with Northwestern, so let's hope to have another good day. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.